Hello, I'm Lexi. I chose to read the book Zodiac by Robert Graysmith. It was published by Berkeley Press in 1996. It seemed fascinating to read about a serial killer who was never caught. I purchased this off Amazon, where you get all things good. Robert Graysmith, the author of the book, was a cartoonist for the San Francisco Chronicles and friends with Paul Avery, the main news reporter for the Zodiac case. Robert Graysmith had a lot of access to information about the Zodiac's killings because the Zodiac was sending letters to the Chronicles telling about his killings that taunted the police. The story first took place in the outskirts of Vallejo, California, when he first started his killings. Later on, it shifted to the city of San Francisco. Some of the story took place in the newsroom of the San Francisco Chronicle, where Robert Graysmith was a cartoonist. He first took interest in this when he started hearing about it and worked with Paul Avery, the main news reporter, to cover the case. The main character of the story is the Zodiac killer. It is believed that he was a white male whose height varied from 5'8" to 5'11", and he wore glasses. This is known because of several victims that survived the Zodiac's savage attacks. Other characters in the story are Robert Graysmith and Paul Avery. Graysmith became obsessed with the Zodiac killer case and investigated it even when he was told not to do so. Paul Avery wrote things that were insulting to the Zodiac killer, so reporters and even Avery wore pins that said, "I am not Avery." The major conflict of the story was that no matter how hard the police tried, they could not catch the Zodiac. The Zodiac was sending in letters describing his killings, but he would always change up the way he killed people. The police detained people, investigated people, and tried many ways to catch him, but they could not catch the Zodiac. The first two killings the Zodiac committed was by shooting his victims while they were in their car, usually a boy and a girl, at a lover's lane. But then everything changed. Let me explain. At Lake Berryessa, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were having a picnic. It was a beautiful day until a hooded man showed up with a gun demanding their money. The hooded man said that he was a fugitive that escaped jail and was going to rob them. The hooded man, later known as the Zodiac, said that the girl would tie up the boy and that he would tie up the girl and then rob them and take their money. Zodiac pulled out a knife and began to stab his victims. First the boy, then the girl. Brian Hartnell pretended to play dead, but the girl screamed, which made her get stabbed even more. This was unusual for the Zodiac killings because it was the only time he wore a hood and stabbed people. Usually they were shot. After the Zodiac left, Brian managed to crawl away and get help. One time they almost caught the Zodiac when he killed Paul Stein, the taxi driver in San Francisco, with a 9mm pistol. They, in fact, detained a suspect that could have been the Zodiac, but got a radio call that it was an African American instead of a white male, and they let him go. Later on, the Zodiac wrote a letter to the San Francisco Chronicles saying that they could have caught him on that night, but they let him go. This mistake would haunt the police because that was the closest they ever came to catching the Zodiac killer. The story of the Zodiac killer will probably never be resolved. The killings happened in the late 1960s before they had DNA evidence. It was also suspected that it was multiple people because of how many times the Zodiac changed his way of killing. I liked the book because it was very interesting to read about how hard the police tried to catch the Zodiac, but how easy it was for him to get away with it because things were so different back then. I would recommend the book to certain people because it can scare you and make you not want to leave your house because of the factual evidence that the Zodiac may still be roaming around. He might not, though, because it was back in the late 1960s and he's probably very old or dead. I would read other books by Robert Graysmith because his writing is very factual and interesting to read. If you do choose to read The Zodiac by Robert Graysmith, do it during the day, when you're not alone.